Do you need a home base to be happy? When you live mobile, when you live as a nomad in your RV, van, or car, I specifically live in my Jeep. One of the questions that always comes up and is even on your mind is a home base worth it? Meaning a raw piece of land that you could park your vehicle on, whether RV, car, or van. It's worth it if it is having a home base is worth it if it brings you less stress, if it makes your life simple, and if it's below your means. Because for me, living a nomadic life, living on the road, living simple, living in my vehicle, it provides a level of simplicity and less mental anxieties, less financial strain, and it makes my life more enjoyable because those things bring less stress and it helps me to maximize my life and my life enjoyment, my quality of life. So I think if you got on the road and you lived in your RV, car, van, and you found that you didn't like going from campground to campground, that you didn't like going from truck stop to Walmart to any type of free parking that you can do, if that became too stressful or too costly, because there's certainly RV parks and campgrounds that cost. So if you felt that you could cost effectively buy a home base and that your mind and your stress levels would be less and your quality of life would be better, then it makes sense. Then a home base would be worth it. I think about it, but for me at this point, the stress would be more. It would take me years to recoup the value financially of buying a home base. I would have to go through the process. Many raw pieces of land, they don't have the utilities there. And for me, if I'm just going to buy a raw piece of land to park my vehicle on, I don't see the value. I think you'd want an electrical hookup. The electric hookup is the most important of utilities. It'll give you the capacity to heat and cool your vehicle. Um, as you get older, I think it's more of a need that's worth it, possibly because you want to move less. But for me, the mental and emotional and financial entanglement that a home base brings, there's just a little bit too much negative at this point. I leave everything up, for evaluation because life changes. That's one thing as I've learned as I've gotten older, that life changes dramatically just in the course of a couple years, maybe even a couple months. So I try to always give myself the freedom and the flexibility to change my mind. If I decide, tomorrow my life would be better with a home base, then I would do that. But in the foreseeable future, unless something would pop up of great interest, it's hard to see my life would be better at this point with a home base. There would just be a little bit too much mental commitment, mental aggravation, and I would feel a little bit restricted. I'm a free spirit, and many people who get into this nomadic lifestyle have free spirits. They have to roam, and when you're obligated to a piece of land, a home base, it brings some value, but it also brings restriction to your spirit. You're not free to just get up and move. You have to visit a sick relative. You have the freedom. You're a free spirit. You have no obligations to that. You can go visit a relative with no shot clock to get back home. You got tired of a certain area, or you got in an argument with somebody in that area and you don't want to be in that area anymore. You can just pick up and go. So the home base does give you some restriction. Everything has pros and cons. But again, is a home base worth it? If it will make your life less stressful, if it's below your financial means and you feel it will increase your quality of life. If not, then it's not worth it. So you have to evaluate that. You have to continue to evaluate that. Keep your mind free and live simple. Just remember, the simple life is simple. It's not complicated. So don't complicate it. But always be willing to change your mind. All right? Stay inspired.